Welcome everyone, and welcome back to Survivor Season 3. As always, I've got our host, Yuta, with me, and today our featured guest will be LPT. Today, we are unfortunately having to redo our recording for the week since the first one had technical difficulties. So this video will be a little shorter as we discussed most of it already. With that, thank you for joining us, LPT, and since it relates to why you're here with us today, let's get right into this week's format. If you'd like, go ahead and introduce us to the format and how it came about.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This week's format was 50 Shades of Gay, which is quite interesting because this wasn't actually originally supposed to be a format. I can remember, I think, like me and a couple other people had asked if we were going to do anything for Pride Month, and we weren't originally, but because you weren't sure exactly what kind of format you could even do for it. And I'd suggested the Pokemon of different colors, and you can only use one of each type of color. But then obviously you have added a lot onto that with the different formats, choosing them, the non-repeating Pokemon throughout it, and the both the former Aqua and Magma powers.
Yep, that's Yuta working his magic.
Yeah, I mean, the not repeating Pokemon is something we do quite often. It's just like, it just gives more diversity to the week. We don't have to watch the same mon go at it over and over again. And as we mentioned, the team swap was happening the same week, and so I use that situation to create a format in which you would have to make the most decisions with your new teammates, like who's playing what format and who's using what Pokemon, so that you get to create and explore new relationships, because it's what the league is about.
Yeah, and as we discussed a little bit about that, it was perfect for this week after that mix up. And we got to see plenty of it. There will be plenty of content for the end of the season to show the conversations that were taking place, but it definitely made players rub shoulders with people they weren't expecting to.
Absolutely, yeah. We got a few situations and a few people like maybe growing frustrated with having to work with new people, which is completely fair, and also maybe got new relationships to be created.
This week definitely set up a precedence for communicating between teams.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's gonna have a great impact on the following weeks. So I asked you last time, but I'm going to ask you again, LPC, how you approached the format and how it played out for you during that week.
So I think I would have been fine playing, I think, any of the formats except for doubles. I don't really have a lot of experience with doubles, which was a bit of the theme of the week. But I did want to play almost any ability just because it's just a lot of fun. You can come up with some goofy sets, and because of that, because of the fact that you can kind of make any Pokemon work in almost any ability, I wanted to be maybe not playing last, but picking my Pokemon last, because I felt like it's better to let people in less open formats have free reign, and then I can just work with whatever's left.
Yeah, I think this week was pretty good. I mean, we had some mons on the board that aren't necessarily better, but there really wasn't that much that wasn't usable.
True. I can't think off the top of my head, but is there anyone that didn't come at all? I can't think of one.
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
At the start of the week.
Well, did Rapidash?
Even ones that at the start of. No, Omega brought Rapidash.
Okay, then yeah, I don't know.
Because even ones at the start of the week that I thought would be quite unlikely to be brought, like Meganium, Mantine, and Rapidash, all did end up coming.
Yeah, I think everything got at least one, actually.
And now that you say it, yeah, I was gonna say Meganium, but
we got at least one Meganium, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we didn't even point that out in the last
recording. No, I think we did see everything. That's a very good point.
Fresh insights.
That is a great point. Oh, I get to show my screen. Red versus blue, I love it. All right, so with that, we can get on to our replays. We'll probably go through them pretty quickly. We'll probably only highlight the one that with yours since we went over them already. But we'll go ahead and get these started with Gamertag and Blue. They did have the, I believe both of them had the Aqua ability to force an opponent to lead them on, which was Politoed and Torkoal. So
Battle of
Which
the
is quite smart
Weathers.
when gamer tags end, forcing Torkoal to underspeed and overturning their weather.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the abilities worked for or against you, I love how the abilities played out. That people did use some of them pretty creatively.
Well, some of them decided to not to use at
Yeah,
all.
and then the one at the end, yeah.
I mean, it was one game.
It was that, and I don't remember. Did they do that for the elimination match?
I don't think they did.
I don't
no.
think so.
I think they were waiting on clarification as to if it was in play, and then they just
Played.
wanted to play the
Yeah.
game, so it didn't. That is, we pointed out the first time, but that was insane. Doing, what was that, 89% or something?
85%.
through screens. Oh, it was
Yeah.
a crit.
It was a
Oh,
crit,
never mind.
yeah.
Something I also pointed out the first time, what was that we said that Ampharos was probably the mega that was most likely not to be used, and it ended up being brought by the two players in the very first match.
True. It didn't get used on gamer tags at the end, but it was. It most
doesn't
likely
hit
was,
the
yeah.
field.
Yeah,
Just barely, though.
very
That,
unfortunate.
that
crit
was
there,
probably
but
Blue's
at the same
best
time,
turn.
it's an increased ratio. You can't complain about it.
Also pointed out, and we're going to see it through patches, that the singles battle were really one-sided, and the doubles one were way closer.
Yeah, every single time the doubles were much closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
way
got
more.
17% health with a full Ampharos, and that's it. And then that was game 1 to Gamertag over Blue. Game 2, we got Omari versus Franky, and this one was Magma? Oh no, Aqua as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aqua as well.
Every single game except the Camamon game was former teammates against each other.
Yeah. Superior versus the Dun.
You in the original recording, you got me to admit that the producer cap was on, and sometimes you have to make decision for the drama. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the decision to have Superior being the mon on the field in the, or Frankie's decision to have Mari lead with Superior.
Which is I still don't get to this day.
Yeah,
Also,
again, well, go ahead.
Oh wait, sorry, no, we're back.
Go ahead, LPT.
I'll point it out now because this is one of the more egregious games. Well, not egregious. One of the more notable games for it is the amount of like mirrors that we saw this week. So this team, half of these two teams overlap, with them both bringing Lati. Although Omari's Lati probably isn't mega. Them both having Prim and Polmot.
That sash was perfect. The set he had for Orbital was exactly what he needed.
Hypnosis hitting twice.
Yeah, he needed to just take him out while he could, but I get it with the Primarina in the back.
Yeah, that late into the game, you kind of had
Yeah.
to just go for it.
Yeah, it was tough. Those hypnosis were the nail in the coffin for sure.
Even I think it probably didn't matter much in the end because even with it +1, I don't think a Psyshock would have killed Primarina. That's if it had it. If it was running Luster Purge, then it certainly wouldn't have mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Still unfortunate, like.
Yeah. I think it came down to I don't know, he didn't recall last week, I guess, and put the scary fast special attacker out front.
Yeah, the Serp leads kind of just snowballed from that point on.
All right, so next up we got Elou versus Killateral. We got the Magma. They showed out the Tapu Bulu choice band and the Crawdon choice band.
Both fairly standard sets, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I did talk about it a bit in the first recording, Elou, because we did wonder why specifically those mons, and I said Elou was probably checking to see if that was a Dragon Dance Crawdon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate. If Elou had revealed this Swampert set, this game might have gone very differently.
It could have. And that's where the abilities came into play. You never know, but yeah, if he would have looked at the Swampert set, he wouldn't have done this.
Oh yeah, Poison Jabba.
Yeah.
But I understand it. I think I wouldn't have looked at the Swampert set because I wouldn't have thought of Poison Jab at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're so used to seeing the interaction with the Ice Punch and knowing that she'll survive it.
Yeah.
I probably said the first time that I wasn't expecting Rain to be used in singles. I mean, it's really strong. It's having a great showing, but I thought it'd be more of a doubles kind of thing.
Yeah, we
But then
talked
again, that was so much better.
We talked about that, and we talked about how he has a Swampert with him, though, too. He built his team to be all rain, and again, for it being the singles is odd, but it worked out.
It worked really good, really great, yeah.
Yeah, this Floatzel in the rain is just nasty.
Disgusting. This is exactly what every game was like at the start of Gen 9.
There at that time.
Just doesn't matter. And there goes my Dunsparce not getting really much done for the week.
That's interesting. Killateral killed all 7 of the Pokemon that fainted.
He did. Heck, that's not even... Oh, I mean, he got all 7, but that's not even the most impressive to me. The most impressive to me is when the Swampert gets 6 kills himself and loses.
Yes, I forgot about that.
But we will get there. For now, we are on
guess.
the Camomons match between Sandal and Hell's Librarian, which is Vini.
Oh, that reminds me that
This is,
last week you got
the
me to
only game
admit.
this week.
You got me to admit that Camomons wasn't supposed to be a format.
Oh right, yeah.
Yes.
Let's not leave that out. Yeah, Yuta just throwing in Camomons on accident because he thought it was a different format.
Well, yeah. When we talked about the format, I said I was going down the list and I saw that there was a national dex almost an ability, and right under it there was a national dex stab mons. I don't know why I read that as Camomons, and I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty cool. I love Camomons," and I put it in the list until someone told me that there wasn't a format for it, and so we had to make a challenge prompt and all that. But it ended up being one of the more fun formats to watch for sure. It was really cool. So that was kind of the Zero situation, but.
Yeah, there was that situation,
yeah, and especially
but
because, especially because since Zeraora isn't in Gen 9, it obviously won't be in the Gen 9 the Scarlet Violet ban list for Camomons, even though,
Mm-hmm.
if we're being honest with ourselves, it almost certainly would be banned.
Well, and to your point, we see that both Zororas are out in the Camomon match.
Probably should be a national Dex Camomons. This is me advocating for a national Dex Camomons now.
There should be. There absolutely should be. So real quick on the hero powers, we got Sandal picking Buzzwole for Vini to lead, and Vini picked Zorora for Sandal to show the set to.
We did talk about the fact that being able probably be more influential in. You don't know what you're facing.
Oh, okay, no. So Sandal didn't lead Buzzwole. Buzzwole switched in. Sandal led Glasstrier for Vini, and he swapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that doing more to Tapu than Buzzwole.
I also think it's interesting that not only did they bring two of the same mons, but both those mons are the same types as well.
They are.
So they've both brought Electric Fairy, Zeraora, and normal Water Gliscor.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think we ever see it revealed what that Gliscor is specifically.
No.
In terms of the normal move. I mean, the water move is very obviously just Crab Hammer. I don't think it gets anything else, but...
Mm-hmm. Those bulk ups.
Yeah, here I talked about the fact that I was expecting Haze, seeing
Yeah.
Articuno on the field, but sadly,
Yeah, a
Yeah, I
Haze
think
might
it's
have
the
been able to do something to help it.
only mon that could even take a hit at that point.
yeah, definitely nothing you can do there.
Yeah, and that dragon type on the Superior is unfortunate because that is what he replaced with the steel to not make it the 4 times weak to fire, but ended up being a bad situation for it.
Yeah, it's probably CC.
Oh, okay. It was breaking up to me.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, who were you saying was CC? The last one for...
I was saying
I
that
w-
Zeraora was very
Okay.
likely CC as its last move, or
Yeah.
Drain Punch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yep, there was Vini taking the 6-0 over Sandal. Again, the singles just... If you lost in your single match, it was going to be by a lot this week, apparently.
Yeah,
I mean, I
definitely.
think we said, what, the closest singles game this week was a 4-0.
No, it was the 5-0 in which Kill took his own mon out. Unless it was the final match.
The match.
Yeah, I
wasn't
think
it?
the elimination match is the closest singles, yeah. Yep. So next up we've got Omega versus Daredevil in the second and last doubles game.
Yep. Well, we're gonna have the two of them choosing to check up on Charizard's set.
Yep. Oh, and speaking of the Devil too, we in this match alone we got the Rapidash, Meganium, and Mantine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think everything got used at least once.
I like this match because I think it's a pretty good showing for the two of them. Because although like Daredevil loses, he has pretty cool sets. I mean, his Charizard set's gonna get a double kill at some point.
That double
Oh,
sleep
yeah,
that
double
wasn't
sleep
thought.
powder.
Yeah.
Something I was very glad to see that Swampert on this team, because I was very scared of it for the almost any ability game, because since it changed since it goes back to its normal ability when it megas, you can run Drizzle, Swampert, and then basically just give yourself the +2 speed immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Which with the mons I had left at that point would have effectively forced me to run like fluffy Meganium or something to counter it.
Also talks about Assurance, the dark move on Bishop last week.
Oh yes.
It's,
So that assurance on Bisharp, if the opponent takes damage before he hits him, then it doubles it. So it's, I think, like a 70 maybe power
I
move.
think it starts at 60 or 70
60,
or
something like that. So like 120, 140 when they took a hit it does so much, but it's very situational.
Omega was fairly
See, that's
confident
Swampert
about
doing-
doubles, and he showed up.
It was a great game to watch. Down to the
Yeah.
last mon, 10%.
That Swampert putting in an insane performance.
Yeah,
killing,
no.
6 Pokemon.
Taking out the whole board here with a helping hand, no doubt. Like,
And the raining dance Skuntank was
there's 3
Really-
mons 100%, or almost all 100%.
really cool bringing rain.
And
knowing full damn well you're
ground
gonna
weak
facing
as well.
And then he manages to take his and Tangrowth, but that's all he's going to get to do. He does take out the Rapidash, though. Yeah, so that was his 6th kill. 6 kills and he lost. Alright, so we got LPT, and I always forget this is Dohner.
Yeah, now we get
Yeah.
your game.
Yep, now we got our highlight match of the week, so LPT, go ahead and
So-
give us any thoughts you have throughout.
I mean, if you
yeah,
could also like
uh,
walk us through. Oh,
Oh
sorry.
yeah, go ahead and walk
ahead.
through your set.
So
was-
going into this game, sorry, I've got 700 ping. Feel free to talk over me. It's like when you have started talking,
No,
it'll
sorry,
reach
no
me
problem.
like 2 seconds later. Yeah, going into this game, the 2 things I was scared of the most were definitely the Garchomp was a big one because that's just a threat in normal almost any ability, let alone this like restricted meta. But also Ceruledge, it's not as big of a threat in Nat decks because there's more things to check it, but I mean it's banned in normal almost any ability. Thankfully, of course, we still had Ceruledge, so I got to use it. So I effectively had one mon on the team whose sole purpose was to just hard counter each of those. So Cobalion was to counter Ceruledge, and Daxman was bought specifically just for Garchomp.
Okay. And we talked about it last time. We got the mirror of Ceruledge and Scizor here. So here we go into it. And yeah, I mean, throughout this, anything you got to say, LPT? Any thoughts you had?
I was gonna say, I think I remember that you said you weren't expecting Articuno.
I was not. I thought Articuno, since it didn't get brought in Camel ones, I thought that was one of the ones that just might never get brought. I didn't realize it had Aurora Veil,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
why I thought it wouldn't get brought. If I had known it had that, I might have planned differently.
Or also we have
I remember you
Dohner
said that's
finding
why
out
it's
that.
Snow Warning and Power Mons.
Oh, yeah. I was saying you also have like Dohner finding out that Mega Evolving reverses your ability back, so that's why he left the Sizer on the field.
The aura farming Cobalion.
Yeah, probably our turn/set of the week.
Yeah, I definitely think that that Poltergeist double is gonna be turns of the week.
I'll make a compilation at some point
I
of
still
the
can't-
turns of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't get over how little damage that Stone Edge does.
I mean, against a
I get
ground
it's in snow, but
dragon.
it's quad effective. No,
Or-
not against that. Against the Articuno.
Oh,
50%.
okay, gotcha. I didn't see that one. Aurora Veil is a great move.
Aurora Veil wasn't up.
Oh, it wasn't up at that time? I have
No,
no
that was
idea
just, it
how
just took
that did nothing then.
Yeah, because the Cobalion is fairly fast. We're gonna see him outspeed +1 T-Tar at some point.
And this is a Mon I'm upset didn't get to shine as much as I wanted him to. This was one of the only 2 Mons that I'd reserved effectively since the start of the week because I wanted to run Dragon's Maw, High Dragon, and just press Draco Meteor. Because after the first 3 games, they'd already used up all 4 of the fairy types in format.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take credit for this Cobalion set. Well, I can take partial credit, but me and a couple friends were sat in a VC a couple days before this game, planning out how to not lose to Zeraledge.
Well, I'd say you figured it out.
Yeah, the Cobalion evil.
Yeah, I mean it's also just still provided a lot of utility because it's there to hard wall Zeraledge, but it just does that through not having an item and its ability. So the rest of its moveset's free to actually do stuff. It's just been big. I mean, those rocks killed 2 separate Pokemon. Well, they didn't kill Articuno, but they dropped it to 2%,
it damn
so
near
it's basically
did.
killed.
Yeah. Another 5-0 on a singles match. And I mean that one felt close, but like again, in the singles, the Mon difference was just massive.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
I'd say that was one of the. I don't want to sound falsely humble, but I would say that was genuinely one of the closer ones. Like if Cobalion didn't outspeed that T-Tar, we could have seen a very different.
True. I know that one was a good game, despite what it looked like at the end. It was a close fought game. Both of you played it well. And then we are out to our last match of the week, which is our elimination match for week 5. We ended up seeing an Elou get voted into it again for his 3rd time. But then surprisingly, we've got Omari against him, who won his match this week. And not only that, is on 2nd on the leaderboard for not only his team, but I think overall at the time.
Overall,
yeah.
Still
overall,
he
he still is currently, I think.
I think he's first on the leaderboard right now. Actually, isn't he?
Is he?
He's first, yeah, because Vini hasn't
Okay.
played.
Okay, he's first because he has his point for the week. Yep. So currently he's sitting first, and he was in the elimination match. I know we gave away how it ends, but this is the matchup we got.
It's a real comeback from season 2.
For real.
Absolutely, yeah. I love this storyline.
Oh, you two, you're cutting out.
I know that. What? Oh.
What is it?
Is this any better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so I was saying for the format of the week, we spun a wheel to know what format would be in the elimination fight, and I know that a few people were quaking at the thought of having to play Kamomons, because it's one thing to find a teammate to play Kamomons if they have already played it. It's another thing to have your standing in the tournament be on a format that a lot of players have never played.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I'd
go ahead.
I'd second that. I mean, before this week, and I think a couple other people hadn't actually even heard of Kamomons, let alone played it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely new to a few people, but to your point there, it being random, we took it out of our hands. We didn't let ourselves pick and choose it, but we couldn't have picked it any better. I'm glad it was Kamomons. I'm sure maybe people weren't happy to see that it was when they knew they were up for elimination, but it made for some great viewing.
Yeah, for sure.
So here we go. Go ahead.
I was gonna say with the two Zeraors being back
They're both back for more, and we got 2 Great Tusks as well.
as
And
well. Yeah.
2 Hydreigons. Those are the 3.
Yeah, so ending out a week of mirror matches with a triple.
Yeah, for the most part, most of you agreed on which format the Mons belonged in.
We see there's a Hydreigon. Disgusting on both
That is
sides. The
insane.
amount of damage that does, especially from Elu's Hydreigon, because that wasn't even stab.
Mm-hmm. It's a new mammoth swine.
Damn.
The fact that it does not kill is crazy.
Yeah, I was
What, the Ice
curious.
Yeah, and the fact that
Go ahead.
it's a stab ice spinner as well.
Mhm.
Stab
Yeah.
quad effective ice spinner off of a
It does
Great
not
Tusk
kill.
Doesn't kill.
I was very curious though what other moves this Buzzwole had, because I didn't like that Earthquake into that.
Oh yeah.
It's maybe
Cause it has a fighting move.
because he
Oh
it?
wait, no, he was no, it wasn't that. He was ground flying.
It was
So
ground
yeah, he was
flying.
ground flying. But yeah, I don't know.
So
I'm curious. Maybe he didn't have a better one, but I felt like that Earthquake might not have been the best option there.
Might be a very defensive set with like Roost, Toxic,
Mhm.
or that kind of stuff.
True.
yeah, Roost Toxic Protect EQ.
Yeah, it could have been that.
I would have maybe I don't know what I would have ran. Maybe EQ Roost Drain Punch and then the bulk up or either bulk up or protect or something.
Yeah, he was gonna be in a rough spot after that anyhow. He was gonna get outsped by everyone.
Yeah, which is perhaps because he, of course, maybe he didn't want to CC and thought maybe
Yeah.
he could stall out the Great Tusk,
Mhm.
and just didn't want to drop his defenses for the next Pokemon to come in.
Yep.
It's hard to say.
At that point, it was a losing situation though, for sure. But as we said though, that was our closest singles match. So, unfortunately,
And that's
at week 5, that is our last for Elou at the moment.
and that sadly means that he's not gonna be breaking the record for most elimination battle victory.
Yep, our assassin has been eliminated.
But as an assassin fall, a new one rises, and we'll have to see who that is.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
Yes, there's
go ahead.
2 in format right now. I think both Blue and Omari have knocked someone out of the competition.
Yes,
It's
2
only
of them.
one. I'll say you earned the assassin role kind of a few matches in.
Yeah, it has to at least be
At least
2. At least
Yeah.
2.
But there's still plenty of time.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of time,
Oh,
and
for sure.
and that's why the 2 was so big for Elou, or for Elou, is that he eliminated 2 people in 3 weeks.
Mhm.
That was pretty impressive.
That's
I
true,
presume
yeah.
that's some kind of record. Certainly
Oh.
that early on for somebody.
I'm not sure.
It might be for early on,
I'll have to check on that.
not for later in the or for the weeks. That's for sure, but early on maybe. All right, so here's our scoreboard for the week. As we said, Omari was sitting in second, and still he was in the elimination match, but he ended up winning, so he is safe up here. Well, at least we got another hero. It wasn't all villains again.
Oh yeah.
People had just been taking the villains out.
And that's the first hero to actually
Lose.
genuinely go out.
Yeah, that's a fair point
Instead
too.
of course, Among Us had to quit due to a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, so that's a good point to make, because yeah, That's the only one to lose an elimination match so far. And again, though, it's not to throw shade. He had to go in 3 of them. He made it out 2. That's damn impressive. A lot of people don't make it out of 1, so. Alright, so before we end this, we'll briefly go over episode 6's format, Sunlight Safari Day. And this one's going to look a little familiar. It's going to look pretty similar to, what was it, week 2?
Week 2.
Week 2, yeah.
Yep.
So Yuta, go ahead and give us a little bit of a breakdown.
Oh, so as I mentioned previously, it's very inspired from the second week's format. It's the same style. It's gonna. We talked about the fact that it's probably gonna feel a little more balanced. Although we have the heroes of the week that are gonna be that might be a bit problematic. So restricted abilities, restricted terror types. I think that gives some room for creativity in this format. I'm really excited for heroes. I love Luxray, I love Pyro, and I hope that we get to see great gameplay with them.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different. We kind of went away from the water and grass and to embrace the electric, fire, the dryness, fighting in ground. So far, the early impressions of the week, we always get these. I think they're mostly leaning towards Aqua not being as good, even though I think they had originally said Aqua was always getting the good ones. So I don't know.
Well, if Aqua is always getting the good ones, then I guess it's a little bit of retribution.
I'd agree generally that Magma's the former Magma one is a bit better just because it has all of the well, A, because it has stab boom burst, and B, because it can get support from sun and chlorophyll and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few different ways to play the Pyroar.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to be playing Supreme Overlord. I think that Pyro is just more versatile overall. And I probably wouldn't. I think I didn't say that when we recorded originally, but having seen 2 games, I think Pyro is really, really huge in this format.
He definitely is huge, no doubt. I played 1 mock so far, and I set him up with Supreme Overlord to be just the end game sweep if I could. So I tried to have everybody else just deal chip damage. It worked pretty damn well. Unfortunately, the Hippowdon was able to survive Supreme Overlord Boom Burst.
A bit better than week 2 is all of the Terra types are kind of bad.
Yeah, they're very interesting.
The
for
format
the
is full of ground types. So electric and fire are big risks.
Yeah.
Defensively. They're all really offensive Terra types, unlike
Mm-hmm.
week 2 where the answer was, unless you have a very specific reason not to, you Terra Grass. Because Terra Grass, given the format, was pretty much all just grass and water types, minus a couple mons. Grass resisted both of their stabs. And then you also had immunity abilities for other things. Versus this week where we don't have something like, say, Levitate. And also, everything in this format is a ground type. So electric and fire, you're taking big risks tearing into them. You can't really do it defensively. It just needs to be for offenses. Fighting is usually a really good Terra type, especially for something like ghost types, but of course there's only one ghost type, or psychic types, which something like Monkey Dory does quite often run Terra fighting. But there's not really a lot of normal or dark types to be hitting in this format, so it's not as good. And then Terra Ground, I would say, is probably the best one, even just on normal ground types, to give you a lot more stab damage on something like a Marowak, or I don't know why that's the first one. I really want Marowak to be big in this format. I think it's got a lot of potential.
I would agree that ground is probably the best one. Is that be it defensively or offensively? I actually think it's the superior choice of Terra type.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think there's a mon here that really wouldn't want to use Terra Grounds. They of course can use other types, such as I don't know Terra Electric to hit to be able to hit Mandibuzz better. But everything I think can benefit from Terra Ground, even if it's not its first choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the grounder fighting are probably the better for at least defensive, but yeah, electric fire, a little bit offensive help, but so much on here that's gonna so much ground for sure. And with that ground Terra being allowed, if somebody's gonna go that. But yeah, so yeah, anything that sticks out, anything you think isn't gonna stick out too, even, or that might get brought but won't play as well as people think it will. I think the Ride-On's gonna get brought in most games, from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I
Yeah, right.
definitely agree on Rhydon.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Ryan
you say go ahead.
definitely is a good answer to the two hero mons for sure. We talked a little bit about Skeledirge being still being huge in this format. Probably not as huge as in week 2, but it's gonna be a presence for sure.
Mm-hmm. We did, and the Zarude too. I still think that what was it that I had said for him? I forget. There was
Might
an
have been Mold Breaker
Mold
to
Breaker,
bypass Sap
yes.
Slipper.
Yep, Mold Breaker to bypass the Sap Sipper. Yeah, that was what I was thinking for that. It could be used. I don't know. I don't think I witnessed Sap Sipper in my match, but that's not to say he didn't use it, because I might not have used grass moves myself. So I'm not sure. I don't know how the team building for the abilities are overall shaping up. So whether that's going to be a good bring or just a wasted ability, I'm not quite sure yet.
I think since like ground is gonna be so huge, grass is gonna find a niche to
That was the feeling that I
handle
had.
that.
Yeah, that's the feeling
Yeah.
that I had too. But you need a fast one too.
Oh, I mean, we can't talk about it too much, but the matches have shown us it definitely doesn't have to be fast.
Oh, was it? Oh, maybe
Yeah, I
I
was
might
gonna
have missed
say.
a little bit there.
Executor.
Also,
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of very
Yeah.
slow Pokemon in format. So
Mm-hmm.
like both Executors, stuff like Oranguru, they all have Trick Room. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Trick Room might come at some point this week.
Yeah, with the two former Pokemon being what they are, and even Luxray not being as fast but having speed boost, if someone's using that, that Trick Room can definitely counter both of those.
But the one mon I want to see pop off this week is Marowak. I get we did a bit in God, what week was it? Week 4 with the Alolan Marowak. But
Mhm.
Marowak's biggest problem, I mean, it's not damage. It's with Thick Club. It's stronger than stuff because it basically just has pure power. And
What?
unlike something like Azumarill, it still has Sword Stance. But the big problem with it is, of course, it's not got any priority and it's super slow. But you can give it moves like this. You could either give it you could give it one of the two weather speed boost things, so either Sand Rush or Chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love
So I
about
want to
this.
see Marowak pop off.
I love seeing the formats with these certain abilities because there's so many different ways to play it that you just never know.
Another one, because this format is just quite slow in general, with the fastest Pokemon being Ambipom at 115. Monkey Dory is something that, while it does, of course, like its normal ability in Toxic Chain, it doesn't need it as much as, say, something like Ambipom, where it's really reliant on Technician. So it losing that,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it kind of bad. I don't think Ambipom's likely to get used this week. Something like Monkey Dory, that's great special attack, can nasty plot, one of the fastest Pokemon in this format.
Oh, true. I also was wondering if corrosion and was going to be used at all on a fast mon or something. And I think that prompted a discussion on Merciless, if we could see any combo of the two or
Yeah, I would love to see that. I think it'd be
So
cool.
I
to see
tried.
something.
oh, that'd be crazy.
I tried to actually use corrosion. I had a brain fart when I was team building, and for some reason I didn't look at it. I just saw Merciless, and I just thought that's what I was looking for. So it didn't really work out, but I was gonna try to run Skuntank corrosion, and if I had, I think it would have gone a little better because I tried a toxic into a Copperjaw switch in, which is what I was trying to do, just to realize I didn't have the right ability.
Oh, I've actually just realized I've misinformed you all. Ambipom is in fact not the fastest Pokemon in format. That it's Salazzle at 117.
Okay, I believe that.
Gaslighting the other team.
I'm just gonna quickly check Monkey Dory. To
I'll
make
just
sure
I'll just cut that
triple
part,
missed
and
information.
you can go and let your team know that Salazzle's the fastest, and I'll just cut that part out so they think it's Ambipom.
Yeah. It's something we talked about a bit of how corrosion, at least at the time, was Salazzle's signature ability, and Merciless used to be or I think still currently is, Toxapex's signature ability. And I said I never really got that, and I felt like they should have been switched. I feel like Merciless fits Salazzle a lot more, and it would also get more use out of it.
And
Corrosion
could be a lot better on a mon that's whole point is to play defensive. You're getting Toxics off. You're using Baneful Bunker. Corrosion would be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Although I don't know if oh, that's a
Baneful
good
Bunker
question.
should.
Does Baneful Bunker work with corrosion?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if Toxic Spikes will, but Baneful Bunker should.
But any combination of any combination of like corrosion, like Mortal Spin or Baneful Bunker, please don't give Game Freak ideas.
I think we should add. I think we should give corrosion in Power Mons.
Yeah, I think Toxapex is done with Regenerator. I think it needs
Toxapex.
corrosion.
True.
Oh my god! No.
Actually, remove. You can gain 50 budget if you remove Regenerator as a viable ability.
That actually might be a concept.
That might. But yeah, no, Baneful Bunker corrosion would go crazy. And then yeah, if you have
the second we get off this call, I'm gonna go test that.
If you have a fast special, or if you have a fast poison attacker after that with Merciless, oh.
Especially Merciless plus Venoshock, because you're getting the guaranteed crit and Venoshock's double power, so you're effectively getting a downsideless guaranteed crit Meteor.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. But yeah, I am curious to see if that corrosion gets used and if it gets any value. Ambipom, like you said, I could definitely see it not being used very much. I think there's quite a few in this that I could see not getting used very much, but I think that's the difference between the two formats, and that's why we do like to mix it up a little bit, because in weeks like this, we do often see it kind of gets tailored throughout the week, and then we end up seeing about this at least 4 or 5 of the same mons on every team by the end of it. So to have the like Nuzlocke format or the you can only use it once formats, it is nice to give us that refreshing. We're gonna see most of the mons on the field.
Yeah, I think it's nice to kind of alternate between them. So we have some weeks like this where you can kind of hone in on specific metas and stuff, and then the teams can coordinate to try and find out what the best sort of options are, and then other weeks where you're encouraging the diversity.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to give some variety and like cater to people's skills. Because some people are better at like finding what works in a meta, and some people are better at like planning out what to use at which point. So definitely trying to alternate between styles of format there.
Okay, I
You what?
it does work with me. Hold on.
You said the corrosion works with Baneful?
Yeah, I'm looking at a poisoned Salazzle right now.
Yeah, no, that...
Interesting for a future power mono
Yeah,
season.
that would be terrifying. Yeah, maybe we don't do that for the mono types right now.
Oh, definitely. I think Toxapex is already going to be like, for lack of a better term, toxic enough as is.
We'll see a fucking damn near mono poison versus mono steel, and mono poison wins. Toxapex stall. Thank you for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed. And before we leave, any last minute words from Yuta?
Sure. I want to thank the people that are still watching the videos, and I want to say how excited I am for the next formats, because I've wrapped up a lot of them in these past few days, and I think we've had some really cool ideas that I'm excited for you to discover.
Anything from you, LPT?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing out how the rest of this week goes. Looking forward to not being blocked in week 7. Just, I'm interested to see what kind of heat everyone else cooks up for this week.
The building process has been very fun throughout this whole season. Can't wait to see more. As a quick little announcement, we are having our summer festival tournament going on right now. Registration is available. The Discord server will be linked in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any of the mods on the server. And with that, we hope you enjoyed. Thank you. 10-second rant. I don't know if any of you have seen Red vs. Blue, but their last movie they put out was a fucking shit. I was so sad and disappointed last night after watching it.
You're gonna get this video demonetized.
Hey,
I have no idea what that is.
Rooster Teeth doesn't exist anymore. They had to sell off. They don't care.
You
So
have to get the frustration out.
Yeah, I had to. I was so pissed off about it.
He's had that rant for 2 days.
No, just like 8 hours, but it was enough to build up. Yeah, the 8 hours was enough. Let's get right into this week's format. If you'd like, go ahead and introduce us to the format and how it came about.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
of course.
oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
So,
No, I
Sorry.
think keep this in. In fairness, I had 500 ping. That was a full second's delay.
no, that was great.
As
I
far as
love
I'm
that.
concerned.
No, that's a great
But
bit.
I think leave this in.
Yeah.
I'm used to this question being directed at me, and my attention was on something else, and so I got confused. I'm so sorry. My God.
All
Well,
good.
for this week's